So good afternoon. Any doubt in last two lectures? You at least remember something that we had discussed last time, or it's all gone last 5 days? It's there. Some primer is already. Anybody can kind of revise or remind us as to what the last two lectures we spent our time for? Terminologies, that is okay. Terminology is keywords. Okay. Anything else? Because only 5 hours we were not discussing only terms, right? So many things we discussed. Yes. Okay. Some questions you're saying. Okay. Why ethics? Yes, that was the first thing that we discussed, because that's obvious as to why are we. As in, first we discussed why this paper UPSC came with. Do you remember? Yeah. Then we discussed in society why ethics. Okay. Next, anything else? Ethics versus morality we discussed. Yes, very good. Then, yes, what is dilemma? What is conflict? Yes, that was part of the different keywords it came up. But yes, we discussed that specifically. Okay. Anything else? Did we discuss or did we refer to any case study? Yeah. Which case study we discussed or referred to? I would say not discussed. 2023 last this May's whatever the case study came, bank employee. Okay. Anything else? Yes, we were discussing about personality. That was more of a how questions came and what are questions can come. But yes, we discussed about Savitribai Phule because that question had come once, and other reformers, and somebody also brought in some sociological perspectives also. Okay. Anything else? Didn't we discuss? Okay, where was the reference of this Sati and Johar came in? In what context? Ethics versus morality debate. You're talking about somebody's morality might not be in sync with the ethics of the time. Yeah. Okay. Anything else? Yes, well, the basic thing. The first lecture we discussed about this paper. Do you remember? And I was trying to tell you, I'm putting a lot of efforts to convey to you that this is not the conventional GS paper. What was that? What was I trying to say? Do you remember first lecture? Yeah. So, not like you don't keep that approach here, otherwise then it will become too much rigorous and there won't be return on investment. There is a smarter way or better way or more smooth way, I would say, to prepare. What was that? What was the way I was talking about? Yes, even everyday things can be part of your actual answer in the answer sheet, because if the question demands like that. Then what you read in newspaper, examples of some officers, somebody doing some really great work. I did not, I think, mention that time, but now this Padma awardees are the best resource for us. Those who get Padma Shri award. Generally, Padma Vibhushan and all, they are anyway famous. So they are also can be quoted, but especially those who work on social issues. Okay, somebody, and they have actually lived selfless life. Okay, and those include some administrators also. And most of the administrators that we know, that we normally quote is 𝐂𝐨𝐧𝐧𝐬𝐭 𝐭𝐲, Durga Shakti Nagpal, T.N. Seshan, Vinod Rai. Why Vinod Rai? For what? Okay, when we say Vinod Rai, which value comes to your mind with respect to our ethics? Okay, transparency, integrity, probity. See, he is CAG, so he would ensure the accountability of someone else. He is a Comptroller and Accountant General of India. That office ensures the accountability of someone else. What is he standing for? Fortitude. Because there was a lot of pressure against him. It's not easy to go against the sitting ministers. and that is, moral courage we talked about, fortitude, and we mentioned this fortitude that time also. What is Ashok 𝐂𝐭 standing for? Again, transparency and all, that's part of it, but again there, fortitude, integrity there is very important along with fortitude. Do you know the story of Durga Shakti Nagpal? Okay, you know this person called Manjunathan Shanmugam. He was an officer in Indian Oil Corporation, government PSU, and he went against the mafia, the oil mafia, the kerosene mafia. So he was burnt alive. That you can go and check about this, I think 20 years back, 15 years back story, somewhere in UP or Bihar. I don't remember exactly. So, and very famous name when it comes to standing your ground. Okay, that's the extreme example actually. But some of the case studies, I think somewhere in 2020 case study, similar scenario has been portrayed that, you are trying to do something against mafia, and mafia has come to your office and threatened you that you will be killed. Please stop this. The case study is saying this. Not like movie. It seems like movie only. Which movie? So many movies, no? Any movie which depicts like this officer, threatened to be killed, and still he is doing his work. Raid, Gangajal, Singham. Singham is a different little this thing here. And all the Salman movie where he is police officer. What is the movie? Dabang. That's a different. Don't quote those movies. Article 15 is good. Yes, good suggestion, Mukesh. Okay. So these movies, the good movies also you can quote, by the way, because they are also inspired from some story. Ultimately, you have to communicate the point through example, right? So only thing is don't quote Dabang and all. They are more drama than real thing. Anyway, so I am assuming no doubt. No, you have no doubt on what we have discussed last. Okay. So if I ask you, what is the essence of anything called ethics? What do you mean by essence of something? Key component, basic. Okay, so for ethics, if you say essence of ethics, that's what the syllabus is also saying. That's another story that they are not going to ask you. What is the essence of ethics? Write short note on ethics, essence of ethics, or what are different theories out of essence of ethics. They are not going to ask you because that's not their purpose. But still, we should know what is essence of ethics, because that should be underlying understanding of yours in your all other answers. Some answers will come, though answers would be, questions would come. Questions would be of some practical issue, but they would be checking what is your understanding of what is essence of ethics. Essence of ethics means core of it. Essence of ethics means foundation of it. Essence of ethics is basic bedrock of it, on which that ethicality is standing. Essence of something is why of it, how of it, basic. Beyond that, you cannot, like that particular thing, you cannot question. Rather, on that, the structure called ethics is standing. Now you tell me what is the essence of ethics. The essential characteristics, that also is okay. Okay. Yes, increasing aggregate pleasure and reducing the pain of society. Okay. So essence of ethics is, there cannot be only one essence. It's not a theoretical question. It is an indicative question. Like question is only, word is only one. You can have different perspective. But are you able to understand as to why one has to be ethical? Yes, collective goodness. We have discussed this a little bit before also. Yes, satisfaction. the inner satisfaction, not moral satisfaction, but inner satisfaction, yes, that you get through moral actions. It decides values of society. But what makes something ethical? If something ethical means what it has to make it ethical. What it does is consequences of ethics. That is also part of syllabus. Like, it makes society better, gives satisfaction. Like, I helped someone. What this action had, which made it ethical, as against I'm just walking here. Is my walking on the platform ethical? Unethical? It is non-ethical, aethical. What makes something ethical? Righteousness. Okay. Righteousness, how it is decided? Yes, suffering wala point is always there. See, the golden rule that we talked about. What is the golden rule we talked about in the first lecture? Okay, do unto others or behave with others the way or you want others to do unto you. So generally, this principle is called as essence of ethics. So something is ethical means I will do it with the intention of this thought, that I'm doing it because if I was there, I would have expected that to happen to me. Be it compassion, be it integrity. As a citizen, what do you want a officer to do? Corruption? No. As a citizen, somebody may be going to the office for some work. What do you want to happen? What do you want the officer to do to you? Whatever the service and duty, whatever you want to call it. That is because, and if you are an officer, what would you do? Same. We are taking the case of corruption here, for example, taking or not taking. Simple example. Why would you not take a bribe and do the work? Because if I was citizen, I would not want that to happen to me. There is this debate, and I'm expecting question on this for last 2-3 years, is about whether bribe giver is unethical. Bribe taker is anyway unethical, we know. But if you are giving money for something which is due, something which is your right. Simple example, like if you go, you want some gas connection or some certificate, some criminal certificate, some domestic, certificate. What is it called? Domicile certificate, sorry. So that's your right. And all the document you have, you go, you submit. And they don't do anything on it. You know what? Why? And you just, talk to someone, that someone will tell you, why are you wasting your time? Just pay him 500 rupees, you will do it in 2 minutes. I did it last time. So you go and give 500 rupees. You get your certificate. Now, is me giving 500, how many of you think it's unethical? Yes, most of you. And others, I assume that think that there is nothing unethical in it. Yes, should I assume that rest of the people? Who all think that it is not unethical? I will not say ethical, not unethical. Rest of the people should say that, no? Not everyone, lifted their hands. So are they confused? Those who, are there anybody who are not able to decide what is it? Okay. Good. So that's the debate. Now, in 2012 economic survey, that time's economic advisor, Mr. Kaushik Basu, you might have heard his name, economic advisor to Prime Minister of India, us samay, Manmohan Singh. So he had suggested this change in the Prevention of Corruption Act, that for my right, if I am forced to give money, how I am unethical? Tell me in what way I am unethical. There is a clear-cut power difference. I'm going to the place for my right. I have submitted everything that is due. The person is just not doing it because he has that veto. He can just say, oh, not now, this is not good. Some practical loopholes that anybody can take. And then, indirectly asking 500 rupees, 1,000 rupees. So giving bribe or giving money for something to the government official for something which you are legally entitled to. How that is unethical? Prove me those who lifted their hands. Benefit or my right. And for that institution जहाँ पे लिया जा रहा है उसके लिए किसी को डिस्कस करना चाहिए कि पूरी इंस्टीट्यूशन उस तरीके से चल रही है. No. See, again, everybody is taking money. Okay, I am a government official now. You are also my colleagues. Now, 70% of you are taking money for this work. Right? And if I also is taking the money for the work, are those 70% doing ethical act by taking bribe? Okay, are they ethical or unethical with respect to this act? Unethical. Illegal, that's another story, but unethical. Me joining the league, ethical or unethical? So government official taking the money is anyway unethical. There is no chance. Why? Because if that government official was the citizen, he wouldn't have liked somebody else taking money from me. As government official, I wouldn't do that. I would not expect that I'm citizen and somebody else is asking money for me. But the person, the beneficiary, whatever we want to call it, the person is forced to. Otherwise, why would the person give away money just to take whatever is due to him? Yeah. See, now the suggestion that I was talking about, if we bring in this thing that for any bribe to a government official, okay, think on this. There can be debate. And by the way, whatever I'm saying is debate only. You write both the sides. If it comes to your this thing, you take any stand, no problem. And you can write, but you have to write both the sides because it's a debate. So, if the situation is any money bribe is given to a government official, it is the responsibility of the government official to decline it. Can somebody force you to take money? Somebody can force you to give money. That I force you, no, give me 10 rupees. You're like, I'll not give it. I'm like, no, I'll force you to give it. But can I force you to take this money? Why should I force? The other side is like, okay, they do. No, there is no force required because it's my benefit. So think of this scenario that something which is due to a citizen, entitlement, for that the person is giving bribe to government official. Who is responsible for the initiation and successful completion of this corrupt act? Government official. And if you just point the responsibility on the government official, what will happen? After the work is done, because I am forced to pay the money for my own right. Now I got my certificate, I can straight away go to the Anti-Corruption Bureau. I have given the bribe. Put him in jail. Why should you put me in jail? Now what is happening? Because of the fear that I also would be put in jail, I don't go to the officials. Otherwise, now if I go and say that, okay, this happened and I had to give the money to the person for my own work, legitimate work I'm saying. Now, the other way of corruption, you know how it happens, that, for some extra benefit, you pay the money. That's a different story. But here, and especially when there is a huge power equation, skewed power equation, that is somebody is just asking for ration or something's basic ration card, Aadhaar, whatever, basic thing. Don't you think that should be the case? That the person, the individual, should not be held ethically responsible for the giving of bribe. But there is another thing, yes, if you take it to the ideal level of ethicality, he should have gone to RTI, whatever, consumer, whoever is anti-corruption, whoever responsible thing, and fought the fight there for whatever time, 2-3 months, 5 months. He'll go on to the other office, no, arrest him, he asked me for the bribe, or sting operation and stuff like that. But think practically now, that is anyway applicable for big people. They do it, Tehelka and others, many journalists nowadays do that. But that is for the bigger things. Smaller officers, who will pay the attention to that? Okay, so there are both the sides. Pragmatically, what should be the case? There has to be, the actual answer lies in systemic change. That there has to be citizen charter. There has to be, what is it called? Right to service delivery. It's so my right that I get this thing. If I don't get, irrespective of the money, I can complain somewhere. This thing is not there, this. Many places it is not there. Some places it is coming. Right to service delivery or citizen charters. That will see the later part of our syllabus also. We have second thing. Anyway, that was just a debate I was mentioning because it came up like that. Okay. So we are talking about essence. No. His suggestion was decriminalize the bribe givers act straight away. In the economic survey, that time it was an issue because that was time when I was preparing. So that was being discussed. And that was in 2012's economic survey of India. But that was not obviously, it's very difficult to accept that in principle and put it on paper that some act like this would be pardoned. Then people will be, it's difficult to establish sometimes. That is also another story why it was not accepted, that others will prove that it was my right and not added advantage. Because if you give money for added advantage, then it's corruption. So that's why it was. But smaller things, it is still can be thought of. Smaller petty corruptions, this model can be still thought of. Anyway. Now, so there are, to look at the, to decide the essence of ethics, to decide the basic of ethics, there are two basic theories you might have heard of by now. Okay, it is called theories of ethics, approaches to ethics, whatever you want to call it. And this is not just in ethics, many different socio-political issues. These are the two basic thoughts always. One is utilitarian, the other is basically non-utilitarian. Okay, again, they have never used this word in question paper anywhere. Neither utilitarian nor deontological. Deontological basically means non-utilitarian. There is other word also used. Consequential means consequences, depending on consequences, basically utility. And non-consequential. Okay, again, my warning is don't, don't get happy that, okay, some theoretical thing came now. Okay, something is being taught and something is being understood. No. I would never, let you go into that path because they are never asking that question. But certainly you should understand what is being talked about. Now, if I ask you, is lying unethical? Yes. Or stealing, for that matter. Stealing unethical? Yes. Yes or no? How many of you think that it is not unethical? Nobody, obviously. So stealing is unethical, right? Why? Most of you say that, what, why? Stealing is bad. That's okay. Why? Because theory means that's how all the theories, right? Why? Okay. So it enhances the suffering of someone. Okay. So now tell me, almost a beggar steals 1,000 rupees from Ambani's wallet. Whose suffering is increased? Is it ethical? Unethical? It is is it unethical? Whose this thing suffering is increased? He won't even give time to listen to that news. Listen. Yes. Yes. We'll come to it. But theory means universalized. See, every theory is what? An attempt. Any theory I'm talking about, be it whichever topic, sociology, history, whatever. Theory means universalization. It should be 2 plus 2 is equal to 4 is not just applicable on Earth. Even if you go to the space, 2 plus 2 is equal to 4 only, because that's why maths is called universal science. Anyway, so universalization has to be like that only. You wanted to say something? Yeah. How? Okay. So that is what the other approach. Kant has exactly said the same statement, I'll tell you. But the initial approach was that if it is increasing somebody's suffering, or if it is reducing somebody's suffering, means it is ethical, compassion and all. So this purpose-based foundation, purpose-based justification, utility-based justification for something to tag ethical or unethical. This approach is called utilitarian point of view. It's a point of view. So any act where it has a utility, basically the J.S. Mill and others, they have come up with that is a socio-political theory also, greatest happiness or greatest good for greatest number. So pain and pleasure, you just minus pain from pleasure. Whatever gives you net pleasure is a good thing for the society. So now here problem with utilitarian perspective is, I'll give you an example. There is a criminal who has done 2-3 murders. Okay. And most likely he will be awarded capital punishment. But he is very healthy, normal. Now there are 5 patients, all very good people. One need eyes, the other need liver transplant, the other need some kidney transplant, some other need something else, heart transplant also, maybe. And these 5, all other technicalities are over, like, okay, blood group, everything matching, no medical issue. It's a thought experiment. Now that is only one person, that too criminal. If you agree to reducing pain and all that, utilitarian point of view, you should not hesitate to kill him, take out the part and fill this part in these fellows so that they can survive. Is it ethical? Why permission is required? 5 people's pain, pleasure is like happiness is increasing. Only one person, that is to criminal, and that is perhaps going to anyway get died. So that means this approach is not working as a theory. It is working sometimes, it is not working sometimes. You might have seen that another thought experiment, train wala, most of you. Yeah, whatever, there are different this thing. This is a train track on which the train is obviously moving. This is just indicative train. Looks like bus, but it is train. There are many bogies behind that. Okay, you are the driver, or you are the one who has the control over it. Now what happens, this train is supposed to travel on this path, तो सीधा पटना जाएगी दिल्ली से. तो पटना का रूट तो यही है, बिकॉज इफ यू शिफ्ट द रूट फिर वो लखनऊ जाएगी, वो रूट अलाउड नहीं है. ओके, व्हाट हैपेंस, you know that there are by mistake 5 young ones playing by mistake. 5 children are playing, and here 1 or 2, let's take 1 only for more confusion, about to be retired railway person doing the repair work that he is asked for. You tell me, would you, and imagine a situation where you have a control, you have a chance, you have something in your hand where you can turn. Don't question that. No, driver is not the one who turns, the track man is the one who turns. That's a technicality. For sake of thought experiment, you can actually choose to go that way. Only 1 is killed, 4 are saved. Okay, you cannot apply the brakes suddenly, right? Then 1,000 will get killed. That is not possible anyway. Huh? No, there are people. No, that's what. See, ethical question means there has to be people. Otherwise, it's not an ethical question. Then you go outside and there are only sand. Okay, what would you do? There is nothing to do. There are no human beings, so no ethical question arising there, right? So what would you do now? Would you go there and after some time slowly stop the train, but this person will anyway die, or try to stop on the same track, but both the ways you will apply the brakes slowly. Obviously you would like to stop, but then either 4 or 1 will die, and that too these 4 are young ones. Maybe they have a lot of life to go ahead. Life cost, if you see, he is going to perhaps live 20 years. They are going to live at least 60 years into 4. What would you do? Now it's a thought experiment. They are not going to ask these things in exam. This is just to clarify how different approaches work. Now, utility point of view will say, we have to save the 4, even if 1 is, because anyway, either to kill 4 or 1, to kill 1 is the choice. I will only kill 1. How many of you agree to this? If given a chance, by your action, there are only 2 scenarios. 1 will get killed or 4 will get killed, and that to life calculation I already told you, 20 and 240. Right? What would you do? But now another justification is, what is his mistake? They can still be called mistaken. If not they, their parents are mistaken, that how can you allow them to go on track? There are other questions are always raised, but then that is their karma. What is his karma? If he knew that something of that sort is going to happen, either he will remove them or he will not stand there. And he knew the train is anyway going to go on the same track, because he was told that then only the work will start, right? Then if you are thinking that no, still I feel like I have to take a turn, then you are inclined more towards utilitarian approach. That it's okay now, chance, there is no option, but to kill one as against killing four. I'll go for killing one. Somebody who says no, why should I change? My job is to take the train on the track to Patna, not Lucknow. They coming there is not my responsibility. This is deontological, non-utilitarian Kant's approach. Do your duty. What is the impact of it? That's not your choice. Duty, there is a very famous statement, duty for sake of duty. Means you're doing it not for some other utility or gain. You're doing it because it is duty. Okay. A thing is right or a behavior is right not because it creates right results. It is right because it is right. So if you, by being honest or not lying, something dangerous is going to happen, still you have to be honest. If you are standing somewhere in Chhatrapati Shivaji Terminus in Mumbai, somewhere in 2007, I think, not 2009, and 4 gunmen are going there, and they are asking you, where is CST exactly? And apparently they are Ajmal Kasab and others. You don't know that time he is Ajmal Kasab, but some gunmen. And they are like, we want to go to CST. Where is? You are like, honestly, go this time, take a right. Honest. You had doubt that, why are they asking CST? They want to go to some crowded, important place and do some problem there? No, I'll tell them some lie. Oh, go this direction. They'll go back to, Jetty where they came from or some other place. They'll keep on roaming until that time police come. Practical issues that we do. What would you do? If you have a slight doubt that these fellows are going to, and you already know something of that's what happened now, we'll lie. Kant says no. Duty, you do your. Now, then later on he changed, practical duty, theoretical duty. He came up with different concepts later on. But broad debate was like this, that you do it because, not because it is going to create some great results or anything. Now, related to this, there is this debate you might have heard, in which we also bring in Gandhi. Means versus end debate. In history also we know. Gandhi is like, I will not leave this Ahimsa principle, whatever it is. Even if I am required to let me die, I will not do Ahimsa. Others will say, nahi chalega. For good reason, for good things, something like India's independence, we also should have to pick up guns for some time. Now, tell me, as an officer, what would you follow? This can be question. Means, ends, deontological utility. They'll not use these words. They'll create a situation. Like, there are all, like some people say, I think this was the question also. Some people say that, your results of your action should decide whether it is ethical or unethical. Others will say no. Ethicality is inherent in any action. Which would you prefer? Why? Utilitarian, you are saying. So, सॉरी ये तो इनको सॉरी इस पे इसको मार देंगे क्योंकि 4 बचाने हैं. How many of you actually, if such a, and by the way, not exactly, but similar situation may come in your life in different way, not exactly similar. This is a theoretical depiction, so we have made it very sharp, but slightly not so sharp, but similar situation may come. I talked about the case study that last time it had come, that there is the flood happening. They had asked, you have to tell the sequence in which you will save the people. Youngsters, hikers, adventure teachers, and senior citizens, and children, like that. And there is another one thing, patients. One hospital is also this thing, and patients are also there. That is also there in that particular question. So they have asked this question. Now they have not used the term utilitarian and this and that, but they have asked this question in the form of case study. So better is understanding. And if you know how to go about it, you will at least have some justification. Because see, any justification that you do, obviously it has to be logical, sensible. It actually tries to or helps us to make our decision ethical. Because normally what we do something, and then if somebody asks you as to, you should not have done this, why did you do it? Then you think. Why do you think? You think means you actually evaluate that this thing on the basis of your ethical principles. Was it right? Was it wrong? Should I have reacted this much? Did I react too much? Was it overreaction? And not just in personal spheres, in friends and all, even in professional life this happens. That's why later syllabus point is emotional intelligence and all others comes, like how much emotions you should control and how it impact your ethicality, right? Anyway, so means versus ends. So how would you decide? You will go with the utilitarian point of view or deontological point of view? Can we draw something for now as like to help you write good answer, and also when you become officer, something to be with you? Like, I will never ever take bribe for my benefit. If you decide like this, what kind of approach I'm talking about? Deontological. I will not see. This is like I'm deciding something as a matter of principle. That's all. Whatever is going to happen, I'll not do it. Right? And that is like this particular aspect is very good in administration. Don't you think? At least I can say 99% of the cases, this will help you if you decide like this. I will never ever do it. Whatever it is. Like we sometimes in private relations, we do, no? Whatever it is, I will never shout back to my parents. Some people do decide this. They have done so many horrible things also. I will not shout back to them. That's like my principle. Even if my father is doing something which is really unacceptable, I'll not shout back. Disrespect, no. I'll stop physically possible if something really dangerous is happening, but no disrespect. You're understanding why I be discussing these things? We know this is good thing to do. You like in a private, because the later part of the syllabus is also there, na? Public and private relationships, how ethicality works. So some case studies do come on the basis of private relation. Even the case study that we discuss about friend and money and all is more towards how you manage private relations also. It's a mixture there. Anyway, so point I'm trying to say is different situations, obviously you have different things to consider, because the issue that we talked about, flood and all, obviously you have to go with utilitarian perspective. That okay, now I know I have no capacity to save everyone. Perhaps I'll try, but given a situation, I will apply some logic and save maximum number of people, so that maximum number of people would be maximum happy. Utilitarian perspective. Obviously, the basis is I will try to save each and every life. That is deontological. Dignity, life, basic. You understanding? Like, I'll not let even a single life get die, or single person die. I'll make sure that doesn't happen. That principle, if you have, what kind of the approach you are having? Deontological. But when you actually try to do, what happens? I will say try to serve maximum possible people. So every action now, why? Because now when you decide, okay, this boat should go to this eastern side. This boat, because there are these people. This boat should go to the western side. Okay, let them come. Then only when this boat comes, only later round will take them to the other side. Till that time, other side is in risk. But you have no. So that decision of individual decision that you're doing would have the basis of utilitarian point of view. Why am I not sending it to the southern side or northeastern side or any direction? I'm just giving example. Any this direction, that direction, A direction, B direction for that matter. Because according to my calculation, I'm trying to save maximum possible. So there is a sense of, when we say this, like in this scenario, you're trying to save maximum, and perhaps accidentally, because of that, really somebody dies here because you did not send the boat. Should you be in guilt? Would you be in guilt? Why? And how? Would you be in guilt? Yes, you have a feeling, but why? See, consequence of your action, but did you have any discretion, chance to apply anything else or to do anything else but what you did? Then, see, this is the thing. When you once decide that this is ethicality, then why would you have guilt? In fact, this utilitarian point of view that came up only to, not have guilt when situation like this comes in front of you. Yes, then it's not guilt. It's just an emotional reaction that, okay, somebody died, I could have saved. Now, guilt is different. Guilt is like when you know that because of me, somebody died. Yes, you want to say something? Yes. Yes, this is to support deontological aspect, especially in the case of administration. This is a very strong point that when your action is going to be part of a complex system in which you don't know how the repercussions would be. This happens. Sometimes you don't know me doing this, how it will reflect overall. There are many consequences of what you do. So because you cannot measure all the consequences of your action, better go with the deontology. So I might accept this. Like, for example, there is another case study that they had asked. You are some officer, you are interviewing some people for recruitment. Okay, I think some PhD or something. You are academic head or something, and yeah, you are academic head and you are interviewing students for PhD. You get a call from education secretary that, reminding you that, yes, your college has been asking for 20 crores for college fund. So that file is there with me. I just, that has been pending for 2 years now, but now file is there with me. I'll just sign it. Only thing is, tomorrow, Mr. Ramesh, that student, is my, relatives, whatever relation, we don't know, is going to give interview in front of you. Please pass him. That is the case study they had asked. You'll get the money. What would you do? No, you're personally not getting anything. What would you do in this situation? Yeah. Now here, that Mr. Ramesh is not some random guy. He's also almost there, like a topper only. and you don't know, he may be topper otherwise also. He not that he is ineligible otherwise, but just reference, कर लो उसका काम. होता है ऐसे, ये एक्चुअली होता है ऐसे, बहुत होता है. He is like, you wanted to select someone who is like 99% intelligent. He is 98.5. But you are getting long standing 20 crore to your college, which will improve so many things in college. And it will benefit at least 500 students. Maybe better facilities, better food, whatever, better canteen food, whatever it is. Yeah, maybe that 20 crore is going to create a big library with a lot of books. That is being sanctioned, just release is pending. Now, he is doing unethical, that's okay. What would you do? See, they are obviously not going to ask you whether he is doing ethical or unethical. Obviously, it is not good. He should have sent the money anyway on the basis of whatever the eligibility of my school. Now, here another aspect is they might have stopped the money because perhaps the other schools needs money more than you, your school. But now that eligibility criteria also he is ready to bypass, asking you just to bypass this fellow. What would you do actually, man? This is the case study. See, it's like this. Then you eat good food. It will be very good for your health and you'll be good. That is anyway going to happen. That, we'll take the interview and if he's good, we'll take it. That means you're saying you're not going to get influenced by the officer. How many of you think pragmatically and say that, okay, we'll push him a little bit, we'll get money, everybody is win-win? 4, 5, 6, thinking. What is this effect called? Psychology, this domino effect. In psychology, it is called. Yeah, some effect, domino, you can say, but psychology, there is some other term. I don't remember. Glass, something is also there. Anyway, glass ceiling different. Like, like what happens in Delhi Metro. That is slightly digression. We'll come back to it. In Delhi Metro, you also don't feel to do any, put any wrapper or anything. Why? Because to start off with, it's very clean. Like here also, if you're having something chocolate or something, most likely you will put it in your bag because you see everything is clean. If you're on the road, I hope that everybody there also put it in the bag, but I'm saying normally you just put it in the corner. That this effect is called something. I don't remember it. Psychology. हो सकता है. So point is, what I'm saying is, that's what we could see that, when others said, yes, we will do it. Their hesitation was because of the impact of deontological. We have it because we are Gandhi's this thing. Gandhi is clear cut, like to the extent possible is deontological. Like Kant. I'll do it right because it is right. That's all. Don't ask me. Even if it costs so many things, I'm not going to calculate anything. Ahimsa means ahimsa. Even if it takes, and he had said this, even if it takes 50 more years, no problem. But I don't want freedom from ahimsa. Till 1942. 1942, he is like, not that he agreed upon ahimsa, he said that you are only the responsible people to the British. You know this, no? Chale jao. He did not agree to the hinsa that people did in 8th of August 42. So, but he said that he did not put the onus on the people. He did not kind of counter or blame people per se. He blamed the British only. He said that the way you are functioning, this is going to happen anyway. So please, otherwise in 1921, what did he do? 21, 22, Chauri Chaura, He like blamed people like anything. He's like, I am going to withdraw everything. So anyway, that's just a reference to the things. So in that particular case, you can have again both sides. You can have something third in innovative thing. Some people suggest that also. You just tell him that yes, we are taking him, just release the money. And you take one extra candidate. Like you're supposed to take four vacancy, you take 5. Let the money come, and later on we'll see how to do it. Some technical arrangement. No, we liked all the 5 people. You have to tell someone like the authority there that you are supposed to take only 4, select only 4 people. Why did you take 5? So you give some explanation, let the case go on. And then once money comes, as he said, people give different solutions, and people do this. As an administrator, this is called internal politics. People do this because you have a lot of power. You can actually decide, no, I want 5 people now. We'll see. We'll create something, 2 PhDs in every department. There are 1 or 2 seats, right? In one sociology department, 1 more seat. Okay, no problem. And let the money come. Anyway, thing is, you have to write both the sides there. Yes. Deontology. See, both the cases that you talked about is to start off with, away from ethicality. I'll tell you how. Now, if I am damaging my lungs, is it ethical or unethical? How many of you think unethical? I'm smoking and I'm damaging my lungs. How many of you think unethical? How many of you think it is ethical? Obviously not ethical, not unethical. Obviously, if I'm not harming anyone, how it is ethical or unethical? Yeah, then in that case, that is decided by the decision whether to give this lung transplant is not my decision. I am saying my smoking has nothing to do with ethicality. My not wearing helmet has nothing to do with ethicality. Yeah, now when you have to choose, you have different criteria. Obviously, every field have different criteria. As to, first of all, you would give it to someone who comes first. Like you cannot wait for 5 years, 10 cases coming in front of me, I have 1 lung, then I'll choose the most ethical one. No. If you have lung, person comes, you transplant. Because medical ethics come into picture. Even if criminal or Osama or anybody comes to you and you are a doctor, your job is to treat. That's all. Now you may say, no, but situation is that I have to choose between this and this. Then criteria is not that who smoke or who did not smoke. That's not medical ethics. Medical ethics is because you are not the punishment giver. You have to decide on the basis of your criteria. Who came first, whose blood group matching and all. And medically, who needs it first? Whom it is suitable to. If all the criteria are equal, exactly equal, then perhaps you can decide there that this is the person who did not smoke. This is the person who smoked. Because you don't know why did this person smoke. Maybe this person has been going through a much lot in his life, being a son or a daughter of poor laborer, and this person is son of someone well-to-do, well-off, social issue, basically, haves and have-nots. How would you decide that this person's moral mistake was that to go for it? He had no option but to do that, because his job was, like, for example, this person was engaged in throughout his life safai, as a safai karmachari, getting into the dirt and drains and things. This person is a PhD student, and he is from good family, in the sense economic. He is from very difficult family as with respect to economics. Now, how can you justify that he not smoking is ethically superior than he smoking? So it's very difficult there, because then it becomes complex. Yes, that can be one of the factor if everything else is same. But that situation perhaps won't come to you, because that's not your prerogative actually. Because there are certainly more other factors will come, and you cannot overlook that, all factors are going on the smoker's side. The more matching, medical matching of the lungs, everything is in the favor of this. But you are like, no, this person is smoker, I'll choose this. No, that medical ethics won't allow you to do it. Yes. Yeah. How much? Which one? Yeah. No, as an administrator, see, if privilege has to be considered, affluence, haves, have-nots, that would automatically be part of the policy already, if you're administrator. Right? You cannot choose on the basis of that. But, like, for example, there is this perception in UPSC interviews, it is said that people from rural background, people from tribal areas, people from northeastern areas, people from Jammu and Kashmir and other disturbed areas, and mostly women candidates are preferred. There is this perception. Preferred means what? Maybe 5 marks extra, not more than that. That preference is not because of this moral judgment. That preference is given to because it's a personality test. It's a test of you as a human being. So it is always assumed that the person sitting in front of me, coming all the way from tribal area or some poor area, must have gone through and must have become better person because of the struggle. That's why it is given. Because somebody who goes through automatically becomes better than somebody who goes through lesser. That's the logic, not moral judgment. Because if that was the case, somebody who is from very good family, very good this thing, wouldn't have got 200 marks. There are cases, so even that case I'm saying, this has not, as an administrator, it's not your job. Part of the policy, like, there are 2 seats reserved for, sons and daughters of farmers, 2 seats for minorities, 2 seats for women. That is okay. That is a policy. You can suggest that policy above. Policy measures, you can do it. But you personally cannot do it. Then it is again going against your duty, because your duty is to choose the best for the job. Especially in UPSC interview, because it's a generalist interview. Technical interview, these things don't happen. Because there, you go to software company, obviously they'll see whether you know coding and stuff, they will take you, because they know their job is not to, have equal society and stuff. They want to have a better engineer, like that. But when it comes to IAS and all, it's not just job, no, it's a representation and other stuff. Yeah. नहीं, किसी में भी नहीं आएगा, because as long as there is only one person, there is no ethicality at all. You can create your own standards, and feel guilty about not following it. You decide, I'll get up 5 in the morning every day. How many of you have decided already? Some of you may not declare, how many of most of you, and as far as my experience of ORN goes, as an aspirant, all of you would have not been able to stick to it, Abhishek. So that also may create guilt in you, but that has nothing to do with ethically that we talk about. That is just setting a goal for yourself. So that is happening. The debate always comes. That is happening because there are two in you. One, the aspirational you, the other, the real you. And then there is a ethical conflict or conflict, which we feel that it is ethics because two create ho gaya. So because there are two, this is not able to follow this. So this is unethical. So you start having guilt. I will not have any carbohydrates for next 3 days. Okay? Next day only you're having samosa and chole bhature. So this person will feel guilt. Why? The aspirational is kind of ditched, for that matter, cheated. Cheat meal, people say. So, but it has nothing to do with our ethics. It's a internal diversion that you have. Yeah. Suicide is not considered unethical from the point of view that it harms you. Suicide is considered unethical. Even smoking is considered unethical, not because you are, killing your own lungs. It is considered unethical in two aspects. Because passive smoking is anyway there. And second, because you are human beings, we are social beings, so you are propagating indirectly something. That is impacting the newer generation. In that way, it is unethical. Yes, that's why I said. The context that she was talking about, you and your lungs, there is no ethicality. I am talking about you, and especially that's why some, well-meaning smokers, there are good smokers also, like good human being and smokers. Yes, there are many. So what they do is not just in front of their own children. They generally try to avoid smoking where children can look at them. That much they do, because it's not good to send it to children. That is very lame in the sense, better you quit yourself. But maybe because of their job, tension, whatever they have, justification they have, but they at least try to do it. There they are trying to be, reduce the impact of their bad habits to the other generation. So that much they can do. But otherwise, I am killing myself if I'm slapping myself here. Is it unethical? No. If I'm slapping some of you, then it is unethical for no reason. For whatever reason. No, I cannot slap like that for anybody. Yes. See, that's what guilt, we have a different understanding of it. When we say guilt in this paper, like we use the word value. Now, value means, but here this is not value. Value is something that you consider to be worthy. So the word value here is always used in the context of the principle that you considered worthy. Like that, guilt. Here, guilt means the negative feeling that you have for yourself as a result of harming someone else. Not because I just had chole bhatura or anything that cheat meal or whatever. So these are what we can say. They had nothing to do with our ethicality. Never, because some people do this when they explain guilt, they put these examples. Something that some commitment to yourself and you are not able to follow. Ethics is also kind of commitment only, but with respect to others. Okay, so you understood what utilitarian perspective and yes. Here. No. Again, point is, even this person is your relative. This person is your relative. In both the cases, it has nothing to do with, in fact, a slightest consideration of this makes it unethical. You are saving someone because somebody is your relative. It is unethical. What is the logic of saving someone because he or she is your relative? Your pleasure. Because you don't want your relative to go means it's your own this thing, no? Affection, attachment, whatever you want to call it. So the consideration of relative itself is unethical. Irrespective of whether relative or not, like just imagine the same case study that we talked about. The person that Mr. Ramesh, and now we have to select between two. Either this Ramesh or Suresh. Suresh is your मौसी का लड़का, something like that, relative, close relative, and both have exactly equal marks. Complex हो गया. Whom would you select? Super over करेंगे. Exactly equal है तो we'll have one more question. So you have different way of doing it. Neither the relative thing should come into picture, nor the officer thing into come into picture. Now, officer is that 10 crore or 20 crore to the school is a different issue we already discussed. But here, in fact, in India, the many places the things works exactly ulta. It has to work like that also. If the person is your relative, you make sure that he is not selected when you are interviewing, because you have to communicate to everyone that, see, I am not biased. Or this is a complex situation where one is ethical dilemma, and yes, very good, Mukesh. Other is conflict of interest. The relative thing is a conflict of interest because that relative getting selected is your legitimate interest as a relative. But your interest here is not to get your relative selected, but the best one. ठीक है? Now there is another aspect. We discussed about this a little bit initially, but the values that we follow, society considers. Tell me 3-4 values that society considers good, aspirational, desirable, ethical. Honesty, okay. Very good. Discipline. Now I'm taking discipline specifically. I'll tell you why later. Rest, okay. Honesty, integrity, discipline, or compassion. Okay. Compassion, loyalty, okay. Then kindness, compassion, okay. और बताओ, इतने सारे हैं. Ethical values, ethical things, whatever you want to call it. The society considers very good. Okay, think like this. What all things you would like to tell to your parents that you have in this ethicality aspect that they will feel good about you? Punctuality, okay. Truthfulness, okay. Honesty, integrity will take it. Yes, showing that I respect you so much. So respect to elders, right? Or parents, whatever. What attitude? What kind of attitude? Oh, gratitude. Yeah, respect to elders. Okay, gratitude in general, but here we'll take it respect. Yes. Responsibility, okay. That is the most important they would like to hear, right? Anything else? Oh, it's okay. Accountability. Accountability generally, I'm talking about parents. What they will be like, okay, good. Pat on the back. Helping nature, cleanliness, hard work. Very good. No, these are something like, these are the tags. Like, if any of this tag, if I attach to you, any of you, in front of everybody, you'll be like, good. No, she is very disciplined. Yes. She is very punctual. And he is very clean. Like he maintains cleanliness. He is very responsible. He is loyal. He respects elders. All you're feeling good about. Anybody of you feeling, don't call me clean and all, okay? Anybody here? You might be whatever. Okay, you personally, I'm not talking about what you are. You might not have taken bath for 3 days. That's not an issue here because itna thanda hai. But you would certainly like that. No, I follow cleanliness. थोड़ा और सोचो. Healthy life, yes. Kindness, compassion. Anything that somebody, your friend tells to your parents that he is or she is, parents are like, helping nature, okay, we already kind of compassion. Goal oriented, okay. Selfless, very difficult for parents to accept. For that, they should be selfless. Otherwise, they are like, don't be that selfless and all. बोलते हैं सब लुटा दोगे. But ideally, yes, they will certainly like to tell others that hamara family, our whole family is very selfless. Okay. Caring, fortitude, humility. Okay, humility. Then compassion, truth, honesty, tolerance. Okay. Patient, smart, intelligent. These are more okay. Smart and intelligent are more towards yourself, not with respect to others. But okay, these are qualities they are expecting you to be. Then what do perseverance, okay, hard work. So what about your parents proudly saying that she always, very proudly, at least once a week, kills one animal and eats? He's really, is it, why are you not, or okay, every week he will certainly rescue one animal, dog or something. Feeling logical? And every week he kills at least one animal and eats. Why? There is some problem happening, right? Why? Because in India especially, somebody is vegetarian is something, abhi bhi hai. There is ethicality, but at least in India, now, how would, at least in Indian parents, how proudly they would say that my child is homosexual? Even somebody says like, there's something wrong. Something wrong. Now, these are aspects, not values per se, but some aspects which has some, in society, something, higher importance or lower importance like that. Generally, for women, the context is this concept called pativrata, what is the concept? You understand the word pativrata, No, because difficult sounding word, no? Now, of late it has gone, but erstwhile it used to be like badge of honor that women used to wear. Somebody calling her pativrata, she is like, yes, I am. Right? And for guys, it's like if somebody calls it his Maryada Purushottam, like, yes, I am. One ekvachni, ek patni wala. Point I'm saying is, these virtues, these aspirational principles, these values, they do change according to time and space and things. Because half of these have not much relevance today, if you take the case of India 100 years before now. But some of them are. Which do you think of these? There are many, but we could come up with some. Or you think that, no, they are always there and they will always remain like that. Okay, one more good thing that Mr. Vaibhav has said, spirituality, you know, inclination to spirituality is also bragged about a lot. Okay, we can take it. Okay, okay. Which among these do you think are like always going to be there? Discipline, really? Yeah, there will be some people I like. No, some people literally don't like discipline. But it's okay. To some extent, yes. Most important is, because that's why integrity is like the base of everything. What is the definition of integrity? We already discussed. We not discussed. Oneness. What you think as right and what you do. There has to be no difference. What you think as right and what you do. There has to be this thing. Okay. Then, no era in the human history, compassion is considered wrong. Timidity is considered wrong. Weakness obviously is considered wrong. Even for that matter, strength. Not power, strength. Is always considered positive. Do you see? Not power, not, abuse of strength, obviously not. Strength is always good. Anyway. Because without strength, no compassion cannot be applied. Yes. Goal-oriented, really? Respect to elders? Okay. So, would you morally judge some of the Western societies where they will just leave the home and they will not even contact their society? Not that, see, don't take respect to elders versus disrespect to elders. Don't take it like that. But respect to elders, something very special in Indian society. It's not in the other societies. Then that respect is then respect to every human being is there. Not specific respect to elders. You're getting my point? In Western countries, not that they keep on disrespecting elders, not like that I'm talking. But I'm saying the specific component of respecting elders that we have. This has to be there, otherwise big issue in villages, right? So that is, I'm saying, respect to elders is a very Indian society oriented aspect. I am again talking about not respecting the human dignity. That is everywhere. Specific, I am giving extra respect to you because you came on this earth slightly earlier than me. So in fact, we say, right? Why are you expecting extra advantage just because you came 1 year before me? Don't we say this? Nowadays we are saying this because this is losing its significance the way it was. Healthy, okay. Hard work, okay. Punctuality, yes. Tolerance also to some extent, yes. But yes. Responsibility, yes. Cleanliness, we don't know. But which one? Because see, goal-oriented, not every society considers goal-oriented efforts are something really aspirational. Because it depends on, because society, if they are in struggling mode, everybody is goal-oriented. If they are not in like very affluent societies, they will not have goal-oriented life, the way we are thinking goal-oriented. See, what I'm saying is, if the importance is also going up and down a little bit, then it is not universal. As I said, goal-oriented Indian society is very, very important now. But for the affluent class, they live life. Why? There is no goal required. But integrity, compassion, punctuality, responsibility is always important. Vegetarianism, obviously, not always. Nowadays, somebody is vegetarian, some groups, they will not declare that they're vegetarians. They're like, no, I can have the rice and the curry thing, not the peace thing, but I'll have the curry. Because the society in which he or she is in, especially most of you might be experiencing this. There it is like somebody is non-vegetarian means, somebody is vegetarian means compromising on strength. This is the perception, How would you survive? No protein. So then the logic comes, okay, start egg. I'll start egg. Many people start egg after coming to ORN, you know this. Because, you get good gym friends. They are otherwise vegetarians, so they'll start. Anyway, I'm just telling you how the things change. So, this was the question also. Some values, yes. Yes, to some extent, yes. Some, like even now, even some societies or some people very clearly say that why should we be tolerant? So that's why I said, to some extent, I said, like not very, I agree. Because that's why tolerance is like, and how you take it. Some people take, why somebody has to be tolerant? No, you be good, I'll be good. Why should I tolerate you? That way also discussion goes. So tolerance as, we say it like, what is it? Acceptance. Acceptance is a more positive word rather than tolerating someone. Somebody has some different definition. This tolerance concept basically came into picture later on when different societies came in conflict, especially this multiculturalism. Have you heard this word? Multiculturalism. So post-colonial, post-Second World War, what happened is nation state came in. So in under one nation state, different cultural ethnic groups had to stay together. Now, that's why they had to come with some ideological backing. Otherwise, initially it was like this group, tribes, tolis. This is one group, they will always remain same because they are the same. Identity is same, Khan, Pan, everything is same. Except in case of India, India is a different story always. But most of the colonial societies. So that's why the concept of tolerance, multiculturalism came. No, multiculturalism? Multiculturalism, it's an idea where different cultures, language, religion, food, clothing, to some extent ethnicity, rituals, practices, the diversity of this between one and say other group would be managed to some extent. Later on, the multiculturalism become very prescriptive norm where people say that no, society has to be multicultural for society to be best. America says this. America's best soft power is this. They say this, right? They sell this idea that America is the place where it's a melting pot, it's a multicultural. Anybody from any part of the world, and in fact, they have the policies where the kind of population that exists in the world but not existing America, they will give more and more incentives or loosening the visa, this thing, so that they also be part of the multicultural. Ideally, how it happens, politics and all, that's a different story, but they have been doing it successfully. That's why America is the place you see, you really find many different European countries, it's not that easy. European countries even now are very much orthodox, most of them. UK a little bit better, London and all, but America, North America basically, America, Canada. Canada is hub of multiculturalism. So they invite people, come, no problem. Everybody can come, no problem like that. Okay. India was always multicultural because right from, that famous, this thing is there, no? कारवां आते गए, हिंदुस्तान बनता गया. There is the NCRT, it is there. History NCERT. Maybe new NCERT, it may not be there. Somebody's share is there. I don't remember. Mirza Ghalib, you know, the initial stuff is very Urdu, difficult to remember. But people kept on coming, settling, and India start becoming India like that. Anyway, so this debate is basically whether values are universal or relative, or moral relativism, moral subjectivism, and moral universalism. Now, again, no, don't get into these words. Question is whether values are permanent or values are changing. Any society at any times, some values will always be permanent. Those values are universal values. And now universal values are those kind of values that we generally talk about. Initially, society has changed a lot. Now the values have become universal, means especially after enlightenment, a lot of scientific approach has gone into, and people have come up with a newer and more permanent values like justice, equality. Now nobody says that equality is bad. As a principle, dignity, we talked about in the Kant's approach last time we discuss about this dignity. So dignity, integrity, justice, compassion, impartiality, unbiasedness, basically. These are the values that our syllabus also mentions, right? Additional value of spirit of service, that is because of we are UPSC aspirants here. But otherwise, that is called universal moral values. Okay. So what all the universal moral values? Batao. Integrity, compassion, dignity, basically respect to dignity. Justice and equality is almost same ethically. You know, the ethical justification of equality is justice. Comment. How? Explain. Ethical justification of why, like for example, why we have to treat everyone equal? Because it is just to do it. Means what? What is justice then? I think they had asked this question. No, that was, I think, in philosophy. Justice as fairness. Justice as fairness, reasonableness. Whenever the word justice comes, always remember this word for explanation. Fairness or reasonableness. Like in general, whenever the debate comes, word justice can further be broken into fairness. Or reasonableness. Okay. See, and from where this universal, as I mentioned about enlightenment, I mentioned about Renaissance and scientific development. So from where this universal concept of universality came in? That is after application of, because see, initially societies were having their own systems and it was going. There was no, not every time there was a codification for whole world. People will say, this is how our tribe have decided to function. Others will say, this is how we have decided to function. These universal values have come up from, yes, basically post enlightenment. That's why we talk about liberty, equality, fraternity and all. But that has come from, yeah, reason. Yes, correct. Because enlightenment means reason. Now here, did we discuss about constitutional morality aspect? Only reference. So two things we'll discuss now. One is this constitutional morality, because they are linked. Universality, because this concept of something to be universal has necessarily come from anything, like finding universality in something. Whose contribution to bring in universality into it? Universal, particular. Thinkers. See, basically, highest application of reason or the peak of application of reason culminates into philosophy. Means why? Why is justification. So universality means any principle in the logical form that is applicable to all, in all situations, in all scenarios, without exception. And the most universal of all theories is, I already used this, well, I already told the filling the blanks. Or most of the, most universal of all theories is that's ethicality, yes. Mathematics. Mathematics can, and especially those who have mathematics optional, one or two maybe. Because I already told, no? Most universal of forms. All other, like, what do you do in society? In ethicality, in science, okay. This is universal principle that if you, from some height, if you leave something, it will go towards earth. There is a gravitation. It is universal law, physics. But it is not as universal as, because when it comes to quantum physics, then it becomes different. It functions in a different way. You know this, all things. So generally, mathematics is considered to be the most purest depiction of reason. Okay, just additional this thing I'm telling. So how then these people came up with this concept of, like, apply now this universality to ethics. How something can become universal? So something can become universal when it applies to everyone. Yes, means it is independent. Its starting point, the basic principle starting point has to be independent of anything. Because if it is dependent, then it becomes conditional. Something is dependent means it is dependent on their conditions. So, so here this aspect of ethicality, the contribution is given to Kant. Kant is also Enlightenment thinker, Renaissance period fellow. So there is this very famous quote of Kant where he says, two things in the world, the two things in the world amazes me. You know the quote? Okay, two things in the world amazes me the most. It amazes me. One is starry sky above, and the other is moral law within. So two things amazes me. One is starry sky, basically space, science, physics, like how, from where. It's so amazing that there is no reason that I'm finding. And moral law within. So the way there is, amazes means what? Something amazes you means what? Surprising means what? What can surprise you? Unknown, beyond, perhaps you are not able to, your reason is not able to understand that. You cannot go till the basic of it. See, if you know things, then it won't surprise you. Reason behind. That means now here he is trying to establish these two things. Science, physics, whatever, Big Bang and whatever later on people came up with. He is saying you have to take it, I am forced to take it, these things as they are. Because he says it amazes me as to why so many galaxies. Why so many galaxies? Even we also don't know. How? To some extent we know. Why? On the same level, he's trying to bring in moral law. What is the word moral law mean? Can't mean by it. My inclination to do right thing. From where it is coming? Amazes me. Understanding what I'm saying? Getting or not? So he is saying that's why he came up with the concept of categorical imperative. Again, these things, technical things, they don't ask. But yes, if you know the word, it's better. Categorical imperative. Now, this is a little bit into the philosophy stuff. Here, categorical means he has his theory of how he explains, very interestingly, you explain something, anything, like if I explain how this pen functions, if I explain how society functions, or our sociologist friend explains how caste functions, what is the purpose of explaining for you? To understand. Very good. So you explain something means to understand. What Kant is explaining, what is the meaning of this word called understand? So you understand something means what do you do? That's what his philosophy that we study in philosophy. Theory of understanding. Basically, theory of knowing bhi bolte hain, epistemology. So understanding means what exactly happens. Then you call it understanding. Normally we understand something. Now you are understanding the process of, or the thing called understand. So there he says, then there are categories. He says there are 12 categories in our reason, not brain. Because of whatever your brain, whatever, everybody is, we all are fixed by God or whatever to think in 12 ways. So there are different, everything that you grasp only in 12 ways. 12 categories of understanding he comes up with. Basically, here, categories of understanding is something that, there is statue making machine, murti, statue. So the clay comes, you put it in, press it, and the statue is created. What will be the size of the statue? What will be the size, shape, everything will be the statue. Whatever is the mold. Now, if you bring in plastic statue, but the same size, shape and size. If you bring in, clay, same, or something else, metal also, it will be same. So basically what he's saying, the cast, the mold is fixed for all of us. That mold is categories. So there are 12 categories through which we understand. That's what he's saying. Now, if that mold has, something which makes murti in some particular way. For example, some statue is there. Because of the mold, the statue that comes out will have slightly tilted right hand, for example. All the thing will have it. So he says, Now you are discussing statue. From where it has come? How the every hand is tilted like that? A reason is statue. Like that, he says morality is coming from that molds. How many molds? 12 molds that he talked about. By the way, it's not the 12 and these things are not very important for your this thing. As I mean, your content per se. Just understand what I'm saying. That's all. He says then, from where the morality coming? Some people say, no, morality is coming, through human evolution. Whatever is good for human being, people are kept on doing and it become moral. He says that is okay for social things that we do. They keep on changing. But like we discussed, respecting elders is right. Now it is not right or wrong. It's okay. Things keep changing. Some things becomes right. Something becomes wrong. Sometimes sati was right. Now it is wrong. Outside expression can be anything. But the feeling, the inclination of going towards right and wrong, from that inclination is coming from where? You are applying those things outside. This thing is right, this thing is wrong, this thing is right. But your application is coming from whom? Inside. You're getting my point. Particular thing can be right and wrong. But right and wrong criteria, right and wrong inclination, right and wrong, I would say, feeling, from where it is coming? So that's why he says it comes from those categories, which is fixed. Every human being, 12 categories are fixed. And that's why he says this ethicality, morality is a categorical imperative. Imperative means it's like some kind of a compulsion. The word imperative. What is the meaning of the word imperative? It's like automatic, forced, compelled. It's like if this happens, this is imperative. It's going to happen anyway. Categorical imperative means this morality. That's why the word is moral obligation he talks about. Now, word obligation is, again, like imperative, moral imperative, moral obligation, same word. It is coming from category. That's why he comes up with category. So now his idea is coming from his basic thing. And for that, he uses the word called a priori. Again, not very important, but just a additional. A priori means basically iske prior kuch nahi. There is nothing prior to this. That is, you take it like this. A priori means there is nothing prior to it. It is the first thing, primer. Means, he says, if you are human being and if you have reason, automatically there will be morality in you. And that's correct. Other than human beings, nobody else, no other species discusses morality per se. They have some indications of behaviors, but not morality per se. Sometimes they behave differently. Sometimes other places they can, let go their own offsprings. This some situations they just leave their offsprings because they have to save their own life. So he says this selfless and all is coming from reason, and reason means 12 categories of understanding that we call it reason. Through reason, morality flows. This is again in sync with humanism. Now, morality's source is shifted from God and religion to reason. So now something is right not because God wants it. It is right because it is right. There is a very famous quote, this also might come, where he says, something is right not because God wants it. God wants it because it is right. So, justice is right, good, right, not because God wants it. The concept of God is coming from the concept of morality, not vice versa. So something is right not because God wants it. God wants it because it is right. God has no option. Some of the Indian philosophy also, there is law of karma. So law of karma is above God also. How? God will decide whether this follows, this falls under good or bad. So God is the judge. If God is the judge, for example, some of the Abrahamic religions also, God is a judge, judgment day. What does the judge do? Apply some pre-established criteria only. Because if I decide on my own criteria, then I'm not judge. I'm a king. You know, king can do no wrong, this statement. Why? Because king is not obliged to follow some predetermined constitution. Judge is the one who is always has to follow some rule based. King can be like, I like his face. He is, 10,000 rupees. I don't like your face. You go. Judge cannot do it. Judge has to give justification. So he says morality is flowing from reason, and that's why he comes with the concept of categorical imperative. Means this is to act towards right and not wrong is coming from inside me, coming from the categories that I have, because I am reason. I am the person. I am the, I'm the product of reason basically. That's why those who are not able to reason, we don't expect much ethicality there. Chota bachas, when reason is not full developed, we don't expect them to be right, wrong. We don't judge them at all. Even if they do something, okay, no problem. Even somebody, even in legal field, somebody is having mental imbalance, they will not be punished. Why? They are not being able to reason. They have lost the capacity to be reasonable. So we cannot expect them to be ethical, moral. Okay. Now from there, so what is the source of reason? Categories. What is the source of categories? What is the source of morality? Reason and categories. What is the source of categories? A priori. That's how it is. There is no reason, or there is no something before it. Now, every person who has reason, that is every human being, because it is a priori. So nobody can give it, nobody can take away. Yes or no? If it is beyond, there is no starter or ender, that means nobody can take it away. So he says every human being has some equal worth, because something that nobody can take away. And that that person always have that sense of self-worth. That is, please, dignity. What is the definition of dignity? Sense of self-worth. Now, what happened? Dignity became a priori or fixed. Now, and that's very deontological. Whoever you might be, rich, poor, weak, strong, okay, as long as you are alive, even if you are in coma, there is still debate going on, euthanasia and activity. Why? Dignity only. What's the reason? Why are we discussing dignity? Because on the basis of dignity only, then equality will come into picture, choice will come into picture, freedom will come into picture. Because you have equal dignity, hence equality. So there is some practical inequality we allow, or even for that matter, reverse discrimination also we do. Why? To restore the original dignity. Somebody is 40 kgs person, somebody is 80 kgs. We don't say that 40 kg will also have 2 rotis and 80 kg will also have 2 rotis. No, we said, okay, he can have 5 rotis, no problem. Because that is a bodily requirement. So here, we are not actually treating them unequally. We are treating them equally in the sense, both should be able to survive and basically in this case, fulfill their appetite, hunger. So after the food, none of these should be hungry. So what are you talking about? Because hungry soul is not it's a soul in a pain or painful soul. So soul, the concept of soul again is in sync with dignity. Now, this dignity also no source. So religious people said that's what we are saying. That soul also, there is a soul, because you cannot show dignity also. You cannot show reason also as a thing. Like that, he says, all together we call it soul. Okay, but that's a different debate. We get into religion then. Then it is called dignity. So dignity is basis of, by the way, justice. Why one has to be just to you and just to you also? Because you have equal sense of self. And this sense of self-worth is always equal sense of self-worth. Nobody thinks that I might be practically less than you. You might be the great person, or you might be secretary, I am under secretary. That is also possible. You might be prime minister, I am chief minister. It's okay. But when it comes to as a human being, what do? Human being both are equal. And that's what ethicality is. Treating humans as humans to the extent possible. So why the concept of ethicality in this particular debate basically is not based on utility. He's not saying we have to be ethical so that society should be this thing, that thing. No. He is establishing in a different context. He's saying ethical because you have to be, otherwise you are going against your reason only. Then his point is to be unethical, to be unequal unreasonably is equivalent to accepting that 2 + 2 is equal to 5 also. Is it possible? He says it is going against reason to not respect the dignity of others, to not follow equality, to not follow justice. And after this Renaissance, and he is part of the bigger circle, Voltaire and others. This aspect of establishment of ethicality or morality then culminated into constitutional morality. This morality, this foundation of morality will only lead into constitutional morality. Now, what is constitutional morality? Morality not based on any traditions, religion, culture. Morality has to be based on very objective, reason-based, scientific, dignity-based value system. Not based on, oh, king hai na, so okay, king can kill at least 3-4, 7 khun maaf. Queen, she can kill 4. Like that, that is very traditional morality. If one particular class does something, you give 2 slaps. The other class does something, you hit by, whip. Things like that, that is not in sync with dignity. That's why caste, we talk about dignity. Caste, we talk about constitutional morality. That's why in India, the one who came up with strongly the concept of constitutional morality and tried to implement it is Dr. Babasaheb Ambedkar, because he brought that concept from humanistic Renaissance kind of thinking. So constitutional morality means the morality not based on cultural, religious and other practices. Not that it is anti-religion and culture. No, not source from. Basis for ethicality is given by reason. So constitutional morality means reason. So sometimes whatever religion says might also be in sync with what your constitution says. It's okay. Some religion says everybody is the same soul. Every human being is a sons of the Father God. Or others say that everybody is Sevak and only one is Malik. Basically what they are trying to say, every human being is equal. So that much we also accept, that much constitutionally, they are not going, religion, whatever religion says, constitutional morality says exactly opposite. No. Constitutional morality is saying whichever is withstanding the scrutiny of reason will only be allowed to be part of the morality or moral book, that is constitution henceforth. So any tradition, anything that you have, okay, scrutinize whether it is reasonable, logical, scientific. Okay, allow it. Otherwise, discard it. That's how we discarded sati, because it was not based on dignity. That's how we, at least in theory, discarded untouchability. Article 17, abolition of untouchability. That's how we discarded caste, patriarchy. We are trying, because human beings, dignity, equal. And what are we trying to do? We are trying to bring in, by the way, religious, in legal and political, we are already having equality. Yes or no? In legal, politico-legal aspect, that is called procedural equality, formal equality. We already have it. What we lack is socio-economic, substantive equality. Socio-economic, we have problem. So what are we trying to do? Socio-economic equality we are trying to achieve. Why? Because basis is already given that we have to be equal. We are equal. That is your problem, society's problem, that we have created the outside situation such that there is inequality everywhere. Or because of practical situations, the access to equality is curtailed for many. Then Amar Sen and all others will come into picture. Justice as freedom. So, or capacity building. So, freedom is not only allowing you to do Article 19. That is one aspect. But there is something called, like, there are two people, both are free to do whatever they want to do. Okay. But the one has got basic education and health. So he or she is capable of exercising and expressing that freedom. And other is socio-economically so disadvantaged that the basic freedom itself he or she is not able to enjoy. Somebody is not getting enough food per day or proper water for the drinking water, proper drinking water. How can you expect he or she to express or enjoy freedom to the extent of someone who is having all those? Freedom of movement, where she will go, he will go. फूड ही नहीं है तो कहाँ जाएंगे? तो ये थोड़ा मार्क्सिस्ट लीनिंग थॉट है, बट यही सोशियो इकोनॉमिक में मार्क्स आ ही जाता है. So we are trying, through socio-economic equality, we are actually trying to go to the real equality, real morality, real ethicality. That's why constitutional morality is as against traditional morality, scrutinizing traditional morality by the yardstick of, or the filter of reason. So whichever is reasonable, let it go ahead. Otherwise, discard it. That is constitutional morality, because constitutional morality 2 times they ask question. What is constitutional morality and what? Notes में भी मिल जाए. Okay. Most of you already thought that हो गया आज का. Yes. How many of you already thought that हो गया? ज्यादा नहीं, मुझे लगा सबने सोच लिया. ठीक है, anyway. Very few, but they are right. Okay. So, thank you very much. See you tomorrow. Yes, Diana, am I audible? Yeah. So, even in the case of vegetarianism, it is the ethicality or not ethicality comes into picture, because the other living being is coming into picture. Other sentient being. Sentient being means somebody who can experience pain. So because you are enhancing somebody else's pain, it is unethical. In that context, people say that you're killing some sentient being. So somebody's pain is increased. So it is unethical. Okay. Sir, kindly explain the difference between objectivity reasoning and rationality. See, not much difference. It's just different words in different contexts they use it. You can take it as a for as far as our ethical this thing is concerned, debate is concerned. Please take it as a interchangeable words. That is objective reasoning and rationality. They both are coming from the same this thing. Objective basically means fact based. Reasoning is application of logic or reason, and that is rationality itself. Okay. Okay. See you. Thank you.